What's good? Welcome to First String Podcast. On today's episode of First String Podcast, we have the one and only JP Flaim, host of the Sports Junkies on 106.7 The Fan, also author of, I think this is like his third book, Faith Restored. A lot has gone on since the offseason started for the Washington Commanders. We'll catch up on the latest news and notes around the NFL as well with the Washington Commanders here today on First String Podcast. I hope you guys are ready. Y'all know what time it is. Let's go. Welcome back to First String Podcast. Please do not forget to like and subscribe to First String Podcast. Hit the bell to enable alert for new content just like this. The most important part, though, is that you tell a friend to tell a friend about First String Podcast. That's how we grow. That's how we continue the show. So, like I said, we got a lot to cover. Let's get everybody in here right now. I'm not understanding. Said you're the island man now?
Yeah, it's a pun. Mess with Lady A.
Messing with okay, got it. You know, when you mess with HR messes back, right? So, Lady A, it's not me.
I'm not creating no fines.
Right.
That's not a fine.
It's not a fine,
Not yet, anyway.
But that was to me. I'm an island girl, so still gonna be on the island too.
Okay. I guess that's what it means. Okay, listen. We got our guy in here, JP Flaim. So let's get him in here right now. How are you, JP?
What's up, guys? Thanks
Hey,
for having me back
JP.
on. How you doing?
It's nice to have you back.
Right.
Well, we're good. Listen, a lot has happened, right? Let's say hello to everybody in the chat real fast because we got people in the chat.
Nice.
Let's go.
Sure.
Bruce, I don't know how you let this happen, but John Graves beat you in here from Garage Gym Life. He says he has arrived.
Oh,
Wait,
You
how
jumped
did
all
we
the
jump
way
down there already?
I don't know.
I don't know. Bruce is here. He says hello. Hey, Mrs.
Hey, Bruce.
Graves. Hey, Mrs. Naomi. You got to check out her channel. She has. I actually just posted a video of my home office / studio, so you're gonna have to check that out. You can go to, I think it's First String Podcast. So somebody tell me. I think John's gonna post a link in here and check that out. But do that after the show. See, here it is right here. It's pink. I'm trying to share the link of your home office, but the stream is setting a block link right now. Okay, we'll fix it. We'll figure that one out. All right. And Droop's in the building, and then Corey's in the building. Not the junkies. Yes.
Oh, Corey.
All right. So yes, we have JP here. So
You know what? When you get comments like that, it just means that they're listening, right? That's what I always said. We used to have a kid that did movie reviews on our show that we kind of bullied for years, to be quite honest. And he would get a lot of hate. And I was like, the worst thing you can get is no attention, right?
right.
At least they're noticing you. So hate is actually better than ambivalence.
Yeah, Corey doesn't hate. He's actually like a big brother to our show here. He's the person that told me to get into this and do this. So yeah, he comes on quite often. And last but not least, we have we know why Al is late. He was actually here, probably consoling this guy, Mike Tomlin.
Mike does not need my consoling. He's still getting paid pretty well to think about retirement if that's the way he wants to go. So
Right.
Mike definitely does not need my consoling, but I definitely can't wait to talk to him and see kind of. But like I said, I'm sure his phone's ringing off the hook and
Yeah,
a lot of things going in regards to which way he's going. But like I said, I wish him all the well in whatever he's going to do. I know he's going to do great whatever he's going to do. So
let's talk
the
about
interesting thing about Tomlin, from what I understand, the Steelers still have the rights to him.
yes, exactly.
So if he's going to go to another franchise, they're going to have to trade for him.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. So how surprised were you guys that this happened this way?
I wasn't at all.
I'm not surprised. My source told me last week.
Your source did.
Yeah. So I saw it coming. It was just a matter of when. Immediately after the game, obviously.
Yeah,
But the bigger surprise was the score, the final score of the game.
Exactly.
That wasn't surprising to me at all.
Yeah, that was a bigger surprise to me than Tomlin leaving, though.
Well, I mean, this weekend's wild card games were phenomenal, right?
Yeah.
Let's even talk about the latest one that happened, the Pittsburgh game. If you guys remember when Pittsburgh played the Cleveland Browns, Myles Garrett was trying his hardest to get to Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers was getting the ball out of his hands so fast. And you had to think that's just one person that's coming after him. Then you got, the Houston Texans coming after him. We know he's going to get the ball out fast, but that defense, that secondary, those guys, they're hawks, right? So for me, that outcome wasn't a surprise. What was the surprise for me was how bad C.J. Stroud played. JP, what did you think about the game?
Yeah, with the Steelers, we kind of saw this problem really all season. They just don't have a powerful offense, right? Their defense had issues throughout the year, but in the end, especially when they didn't have DK Metcalf last couple of weeks, you saw how anemic the offense was, but he doesn't even make that much of a difference. You're talking about Aaron Rodgers well past his prime. They couldn't get the running game going, so it was going to be tough for them against the number one defense in the league. Look, all that said, the score was 7-6, 10-6, and then it got out of hand, obviously, with a couple of turnovers there at the end. So I'm not that sold on the Houston Texans, especially you mentioned C.J. Stroud. You can't have a quarterback fumbling the ball like that.
No. For no reason.
They could get away with that against the Steelers. The Steelers were never going to score that many points, but I don't know if they're going to be able to get away with that as they proceed throughout the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. The question to you is, did you see this happening? What did your sources say to you? Because, we know you got Bulldogs up there.
There's Bulldogs everywhere, right? Sid?
No, we didn't. That's what that is. It's on my screen. We didn't see that coming. Let's be real. It's hard to see him leave this way, but at some point we knew it was going to happen. I think the fact that they didn't retain one of those quarterbacks from last year who played in the system, who understood the system. We know who Aaron Rodgers is, but the offensive coordinator system uses I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. Anyway, he uses a system a read option system that doesn't work for Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron Rodgers is not going to run the ball. Whereas last year he had guys who would run the ball if they needed to. The thing was they didn't adjust to what they had.
Well, which once they got rid of Pickens, it was going to be one of the strengths of them, but you had George Pickens and DK Metcalf, and you let George Pickens go to the Dallas Cowboys, and now you got DK Metcalf by himself. You had a pretty solid running game until people started getting hurt in Pittsburgh as well. But when you have an aging quarterback such as Aaron Rodgers, you have to surround him with more talent and let him do his thing by outthinking the defenses and having the answers to the problem before the ball is snapped, right? And
I just think it's hard when you're a fan of a team. Imagine being a Steelers fan and you have a team that always has a winning record. That's a great accomplishment. He's a great coach. But to lose in the playoffs 7 straight times, it's a frustrating spot. I can tell you, look, I graduated undergrad from University of Maryland, And during Gary Williams' early years, they would make the Sweet 16, and then they wouldn't get beyond that. And as a fan, you were like, man, maybe they should move on from Gary. Now, eventually he broke through, but it gets to a point where he's been entrenched with this organization for 19 years. Since Big Ben, they haven't been able to figure out quarterback. You can just go through the last couple of years, bring in Russell Wilson. That was a bust. Aaron Rodgers, I actually think Aaron played fairly well, but the offense just wasn't good enough. And then they spend the most money of any team in the NFL on their defense. That defense didn't look half as good as what the Houston Texans defense is. I don't know if TJ Watt is washed, but he used to put up 20 sacks. He had 7 this year. And I know that you have injuries and different things like that. Like, that defense is not a fearsome defense. So, I think Tomlin saw the writing on the wall, and I liked what he said afterwards, paraphrasing, but he's basically like, words don't matter, right? Words don't matter. It's the result. Right. You've lost 7 straight playoff games. Probably the fan base wants to move on. The organization can see moving on. The hard part is when you move on from a guy like Mike Tomlin, you move on a guy like Harbaugh in Baltimore. Are you going to find somebody better? Probably not.
No.
But
who do you replace?
It worked out in Philadelphia when Andy Reid moved on, right? Andy Reid was always taking the team, to the NFC Championship game with Donovan McNabb, and then they never won a Super Bowl with Andy Reid, but great winning record, knocking on the door all the time. And then Philadelphia moved on. He moved on, won Super Bowls, but Philadelphia also won 2 Super Bowls with 2 different coaches since Andy Reid moved on. So we'll see how it works out, but it's going to be tough to replace probably a Hall of Fame head coach.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's talk about, since we have you here, JP, let's talk about the Washington Commanders, right? So they hired oh my God,
David
Blau as the OC. And I heard you guys' conversation today. Didn't get a chance to call in. You asked the question, and you asked the question, and you said it was a trick question. It's not a trick question. Which one is more important, the offensive coordinator or the defensive coordinator? And you said it's a trick question.
Well, but I say it's a trick question this way, is that you can't have – you want to have good coordinators on both sides, right?
You do.
There's 2 sides of the game, offense and defense. You can throw in special teams too. And so you could have this great offense, but if your defense can't stop anybody, you're not winning a championship. And then the same thing, you can have this great defense, but if your offense can't do anything, you're probably not winning a championship. So that's why I said it's a trick question. Now, that said, we do a radio show, so we set up topics, right? And Jason and I sided on the way of the offense. And why I say that is, if you look at the 8 teams remaining in the playoffs right now, 7 of them have top 10 offenses in the league. Now, many of them also have very good defenses. We mentioned the Texans got the number 1 defense, but I believe it's 5 out of the 8 have top 10 defenses. I just think the offense right now, it's bigger offensive league, and their most important player, and we all know this, is Jaden Daniels. They got to keep him healthy next year, and they got to get him right. If you don't do that, if David Blau isn't able to do that, then this whole regime is going to be probably blown out of there.
Well, I still think that it's not a trick question. And the reason I think it's not a trick question is because the game is pretty simple. You keep your quarterback standing upright. You get their quarterback on the ground. HR, is there a problem with that logic? Sack their quarterback, keep your quarterback standing up.
That's literally offense and defense.
Oh, okay. I had to run that through HR to make sure everything was okay. So the problem is you don't have the players on the defense to accomplish that mission. Dietrich Wise got hurt early. Armstrong hurt a couple of weeks after that. So now you have to get the players. And I think that, like you said, both coordinators are important, but I think it's more important for him to get his defensive coordinator, meaning Dan Quinn, to get that defensive coordinator job locked down so that you can then become that CEO that you wish to be by overseeing the whole thing, making sure your special teams is good, your defense is good, and your offense is good. And David Blau may need somebody to look over his shoulder and make sure things are going because you don't want to get off to a point where you start the season and you're not scoring at least 27 points.
Well, let's take a look at the Philadelphia Eagles, right? They already blew out their I think they're going to blow out their offensive coordinator. Like,
Right.
I'm sorry. You might be right, but I think you could have the best defensive coordinator, whoever you say is the best defensive coordinator in the league this year. Let's go to Miko Ryans, who's the head coach of the Texans because they have number one defense. If you put him with Washington's defense, maybe they're a little bit better, but you got to have the players.
Yeah.
You got to have the players.
Absolutely.
Will Anderson and Hunter helps. Exactly.
Yes, you got to have that.
Absolutely.
You got to have that. I mean, at least that's the foundation, right? It's up front. You got to have the horses up front.
JP, I got a question for you. When you were just saying that looking at the offense and the teams that are in the playoffs right now, the two number one seeds, are led by their defense in Seattle and the Broncos, and their offenses can be a little Jekyll and Hyde sometimes. So does that come in a little bit of saying, yeah, you have to make the playoffs to get the offense, but the top dogs in each conference are defensive-led teams?
I mean, let's see how it plays out. If those two teams advance to the Super Bowl and one of them wins it, then you can stick it to me. But I'll tell you what, with Seattle, they look super powerful, right?
Yeah.
But I think all of us, until he proves us otherwise, are going to have some doubts on Sam Darnold. Now, that said, he led the Vikings to 13 wins last year. He led the Seahawks to 13 wins this year. So maybe we need to stop doubting Sam Darnold.
I need to see more. And I need pressure bust pipes. I've seen when that pressure hit, JP. Sam, look.
You've said this before. That's the bad part. What is it going to take for you to believe in this man?
For him to win when it matters.
Said you got to unmute.
13 win with two teams. Not the same team.
Win when it matters.
But you know what? I bet you right now Minnesota should still had him.
No doubt.
I bet you
Sure.
they do.
I'm sure.
I bet you they do.
Without a doubt. Question to everybody. Let's start off with JP. Which quarterback do you trust to make it to the Super Bowl? AFC, NFC. Give me your two quarterbacks that you trust to make it to the Super Bowl. JP.
To make it to the Super Bowl this year. All right. It's going to be tough because I think his team is not as strong as it's been in years past. But Josh Allen, by far, is the best player in the NFL these days. And if you look at what he's done in playoffs recently, I believe he's got 19 touchdowns with one interception in his last several playoff games. He can carry a team. Now, they just lost Gabe Davis. Mm-hmm. They don't have these great weapons. Like, I'm watching them, and there's some guy named Shavers on the field. I'm like, who the heck is this guy? Like, they don't have this tremendous amount of help. But he's absolutely number one. I think there are a lot of question marks. You know, we just talked about Sam Darnold. We can go through it. Guys like Bo Nix, Drake May, Caleb Williams, these are all inexperienced guys. You know, how many times can Caleb Williams and the Bears come back? It's going to be tough. I think they just lost their tackle too. It's going to be really tough for them. So I'd put Josh Allen number one.
All right. Oh, what about on the NFC side?
The NFC side is interesting. You know, this might just be me liking him and rooting for him, but I like Brock Purdy. Now, I think they're probably going to lose this week. So in terms of trust, because he's won it before, probably either going to finish first or second in the MVP this year. It's Matt Stafford. I think that's an easy answer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, see, the best part about this question is there are no wrong answers until we get to the Super Bowl, and then we can say, hey, you were wrong because they got eliminated. Come on, Al, you're itching. Who you got? Give me your
By the way, let me just interject real quick.
Sure.
If you take a look at Stafford's numbers, though, outside of like dome and in really cold weather, it's not that great. And in Chicago, believe it's supposed to be 10 degrees or below. So that'll be interesting.
Who wants to watch a game in that weather?
But JP was prophetic in his quarterbacks. I mean, the best quarterback left in the playoffs, I believe, resides in Buffalo. And I think, that bulldog that said, like, Stafford, everybody's All-American, man, is the best. The quarterbacks I trust the most. And I agree with you, JP, but he proved last year in that game against Philly. He played very well in the snow and in that cold weather game when he went outside. So maybe it's more of the previous trend being a dome quarterback all those years in Detroit, but he played. I mean, like I said, they should have almost. Some guys won that game last year. They played good enough to win that game last year. I think it was the Divisional Round.
That was Philly's toughest game.
Yeah,
I mean, they had a chance to win it on the last drive, and then think he had an incompletion and he got sacked on 3rd and 4th down.
Lady A, what 2 quarterbacks? Oh, hold on. Did you give me your NFC quarterback, Al?
Oh, Stafford. I mean, everybody's the Bulldog. I mean, the Bulldog.
Lady A.
Stafford, and that's it.
Okay.
She won't see anybody from Buffalo, JP. Don't ignore her, JP. She has a bias against people.
Okay, come on, say it. Can you stray away from a Bulldog?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Why? I think Stafford. That game last week, actually, it shouldn't have been as close as it was. Stafford was throwing some absolute dimes last week that were being dropped. I mean, Puka dropped a touchdown. Devontae Adams dropped a touchdown. Some straight dimes. That game was not as close as it should have been. Stafford is as high as it is going into the next week. So yeah, I'm going with this Bulldog. I think this is last year, no matter what. Win or lose, I think it's last year. He's trying to go out with a W. He's trying to go out with a bet.
AFC side, say it. AFC side.
You know what? Yeah. Give me Drake May.
Thank you.
Give me Drake May.
Say it. Thank you.
He's playing above his time. He's playing like Jaden played last year. He is. He's making those plays. He's making those reads. He's doing what he's supposed to do. He's taking off and running. He had a big run last week. He's taking off and running when he's supposed to, which is what Atlanta needed. But, we're not get in that. We're not going to get into that. But I think Drake May is playing out of his mind. I mean, I just do personally.
Okay. So what I did notice is no one said, Sam Darnold. No one said Caleb and CJ Stroud. So
you can.
I'm not. They do have some things that they need to clean up.
Nobody said Bo Nix.
Yeah, nobody said Bo Nix. I mean, Bo Nix has an amazing defense and he has talent around him in offense. It's just, will he be the Bo Nix in the second half like he's done throughout the season, where he just sort of turns it on in the second half? You can't mess around with the Bills, because the Bills will go in there and upset the Broncos if they mess around. So we got to see what happens there. We will be live streaming the 49ers and the Seahawks game on Saturday. So that's the game that will be live streaming.
Do you think the NFL kind of screwed the Niners? We talked a little bit about this on our show, in that with the scheduling, the Niners, they got games, they got teams that played on Saturday that are now play on Sunday, and they had teams that played on Sunday, they're going to play on Saturday against teams with buys.
That's the road. That's the path that you chose, right? Everybody had an opportunity to win their division. Yes. I mean, the Niners have probably had the best division in all of football this year.
No doubt, 3 of the teams are left.
Yeah, them, the Rams, and the Seahawks. So, with them being as beat up as they were, I'm going to say a great job to. Why is Kyle not being mentioned for Coach of the Year? Because he's done. Right?
He is being mentioned for Coach of the Year.
I mean, you hear Vrabel being mentioned for Coach of the Year. You hear
there's about 5 or 6 guys that can win Coach of the Year, right? Yeah. You have the quick turnaround guys like Ben Johnson and Liam Cohen.
Yep.
But then and it's his second year, but I think McDonald gets mentioned with the job they've done in Seattle. But Shanahan is definitely mentioned in the mix.
Yeah, he's done an amazing job. Especially with all the injuries, and now you got Kittle that's gone, so you got to see he's got to fire all the bullets that he has versus the opponent that he knows. He saw him twice already.
That's helping him. I think that's helping him a lot in this game, being a familiar opponent, even though they're down in the last leg in regards to having so many players injured. I think the familiarity of the team that you're playing, not having to find tape on them, and knowing what they're doing, and having played them 2 weeks ago, helps them tremendously to at least make this a game. But they are coming off rest, so we're going to see how that's going to happen as well.
All right, so JP, you have is this your third book?
It is.
It's your third book. You have Faith Restored. It's finally out. People can order it at faithrestored.com. The book is based on the turnaround from last year, but tell us a little bit more about it.
So faithrestoredbook.com if you're interested. And it's really just about the organizational turnaround. And yes, it talks about last season, which was a magical season. But the title itself, I've taken a lot of shrapnel because Faith Restored, they only won 5 games. And I totally get that. I totally get that. Faith is definitely a little shaky this year based on what happened this season. But if you really look at it, it's about all the things off the field. Like previous regime, when they would honor Sean Taylor, horrific representation, right? Embarrassing. When they announced the name change, they go on the Today Show, embarrassing presentation. Now you have a Darryl Green ceremony or an Art Monk ceremony. This organization is doing things the right way, right? When Josh Harris and the team and the new ownership took over, this was a team that finished dead last 2 years in a row in the NFLPA grades. Now they're 11th. So all of those things kind of off the field, we're trending in the right direction. Obviously, last year was a magical season, but that's really what it's about. And then the fans last year came back. And this year, I think you probably know this, there's more fan engagement, right? They sold 12,000 more season tickets. They sold, I think it was right around 70 new corporate sponsorships. So we got this feel last season in 2024. It started to feel like what it was like for when we were kids and this team was winning Super Bowls and everybody was a fan of the team. You know, that was lost through all the years of decline with Snyder. There was much more apathy and people bailing on the team and not caring about the team. And that's kind of come back. So that's really what the book's about kind of the resurgence of the organization. And then when you get a guy like Jaden Daniels, what I'd say this year obviously went south. He only finished 4 games this year.
Yep.
But when you have that franchise quarterback, especially a young franchise quarterback, you have a chance every year to compete. And what I would say is don't be shocked that this team's right back in the playoffs. Look at these teams that are in the playoffs right now. Chicago was terrible last season and had a quick turnaround. So many of these teams have had quick turnarounds. Now, Jacksonville got bounced out, but there were awful teams that made the playoffs this year. It happens every year. That's what happened with Washington. It was kind of unexpected. They're going to have to do a lot of rebuilding, but hopefully you still have faith in Adam Peters and Dan Quinn. I know it might be shaken from this season, but you know what? If it was the previous guy, probably would have blown these guys out already.
Yeah, absolutely. Come on, Al.
I had a question saying that, going over what you're saying, JP, with the even Dan Quinn, if you have a similar year next year and all these great candidates out there, because it's Mike Tomlin's name's been rumored to be in Washington well before Dan Quinn was even here. Could you see this ownership group being a new ownership group and not afraid to make bold moves, go after one of these coaches if they were to take a year off and move on from Dan Quinn, if it's not a return to, let's say, the playoffs or something very close to that?
I think next year, which is going to be year 3 for Adam Peters, Dan Quinn, and I'm going to throw Jaden Daniels in there, huge for all 3 of them, right? Yep. If next year, let's start with Jaden and we can work our way up. If next year Jaden has more injury issues, everybody's going to question it. I mean, people are already questioning it, but if he doesn't play, I would say 14 or 15 games, they're going to start having thoughts about, is this actually our long-term guy? With Dan Quinn, if they have another losing year, let's be real. You get some grace because you took a team to an NFC championship game. This year was abysmal at 5-12. If they have another 5-12 year, they will move on to somebody better. And Josh Harris isn't afraid to pull the trigger. Just take a look at what he's done with the New Jersey Devils. Look what he's done with the Philadelphia 76ers. Yeah, you could say sometimes he has loyalty, but they've also mowed through some coaches, both in the NHL and NBA, if you look at him. So I think next year is huge. And same thing for Adam Peters, right? We all knew that it was going to be tough, that the cupboard was bare when he took over. Ron Rivera did a horrible job drafting. None of those guys stuck around, right? So last year kind of changed everybody's perspective and maybe even changed Adam Peters' perspective himself and Dan Quinn that they were going for it this year. But we all thought it was going to probably take 3 years to build up the roster. So next year is critical.
Yeah, and you don't have as many draft picks, but you do have some money for free agents. The thing that I wanted to ask you about, JP, was this. Bobby Johnson, the offensive line coach, when the offensive line pretty much seems to be the best unit that the team had, I believe he had the title assistant head coach, and he's out.
I think the assistant head coach is actually the passing game coordinator, Brian Johnson.
Yeah. Oh, okay. But he's
gone. By
the
way, we've argued about this on the show. I think assistant head coach, that's a joke. It's a title they give to people. I
don't know if they want to keep around
money doing it, but it means nothing.
Right. But you lose your offensive line coach, right? Pretty much your best unit. Do you feel? Why do you think that he's gone?
Complete speculation. I have no idea why he's gone. Obviously, somebody in the organization didn't really like him because, like you said, the offensive line was improved this year. That helps when you bring in Laramie Tunsil on one side and you draft Connerly. Now, I'm not saying Connerly was great at the beginning, but we saw him improve. So, again, it goes to personnel, right? If you have better talent, you're probably going to be a better coach.
Yeah. And I always thought it has to do something with maybe he got passed over. Maybe he did interview for the offensive, or he wanted to interview for the offensive coordinator position, and they said no. And since I can't interview for that, then let me go. Give me my walking papers so I can go somewhere else and progress my career. But I just found it sort of awkward that there was no explanation behind why he was gone. And now that we have our offensive coordinator, he has to start to build his staff out, right? Before we even get to the defensive side of the ball, what is the most important position that he must fill on his staff?
I think it's quarterback's coach. Again, Jaden's your best player. You want him playing like he did as a rookie, because even this year when he was on the field, I didn't think he played bad, but he wasn't playing at peak Jaden Daniels level.
Okay. Come on, Al, I see it working.
No, I just really, and DQ's my guy. I tell y'all that all the time. If he wasn't, and like I said, I mean, he's my guy, man. I hate the fact that he came to coach for you all, but but I understand it. He's a Northern Virginia guy. This is where he wanted to be. But we see now in this playoffs, if you got the quarterback right and the coach right, you're gonna get success. It follows. It's not a hard sell, especially a young quarterback when you're working off young deals and things. I have to question, are you sure? Because it's the track record that Dan Quinn has had in Atlanta. You won early, went to the Super Bowl, fizzled out with everything afterwards. You had early success here in Washington, fizzled out the next year. Now, we're still to be determined in regards to years following, but do you have the right coach? I think you may have the quarterback, keeping him healthy, but do you have the right coach? That's the question. Because if you got both of them right, you win. Period.
Now, ultimately, time will tell. I don't think anybody knows the answer. What I do like about Quinn is, even during this losing season, you didn't hear about, really problems with the players, right? He's built, it's a little bit cheesy. I write about it in the book, but the brotherhood and all these cliches, these guys have bought into it, right? He preaches this gospel and they repeat it. They're like a good congregation. So I do think the players have bought in. I think if we made an honest assessment, they just didn't have the personnel this year. And I'm big on Occam's razor, right? The simplest answer is usually the answer. If we did this podcast on September 1st, before the season started, and I told you Jaden Daniels is only going to finish 4 games, all right? I don't have to tell you about the rest of the injuries. I just tell you Jaden Daniels is only going to finish 4 out of 17 games. You probably would have said they're going to finish 5-12, 6-11. Nobody would have said they're going to be a playoff team, right? So then if you just take that and then you add Dietrich Wise getting out early and Dorrance Armstrong and all these other things, and Terry, who never is injured, holding out all the time, and then he's not even playing, half the games. That's kind of what happened. So, maybe some coaches can overcome that, but I feel like the simplest answer is this season was wrecked by injuries. Most importantly, their starting quarterback.
Yeah, I also believe that Adam Peters learned a lesson in how to get the players in that you need to get in, like Terry. I think he underestimated the importance of Terry to this team.
And then the last thing I'll say about the injuries too, and kind of when I was talking about the book, is that because they did so well in year one, which was not expected, they kept all of these older guys.
Yes.
And Bobby Wagner, you know, he can lead the league in tackles or be up there in tackles, but we've seen him in coverage, right? Now Zach Ertz, we kind of knew what we had when they brought him in. Eckler gets hurt. Like these, like they know they need to get younger, they need to get faster, right? They might have put that off for a year. This offseason, you're going to see them go younger and faster.
Yeah.
How about the defense?
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Also, how about I lament to these guys all the time and remind them. I thought AP was I like AP first of all for his initials. So he was on my good list just for having the initials AP. But I had to question. I'm starting to question. Let me say it this way. And how about? And again, I'm guessing my question is: do you the talent evaluation, especially on the defense? Defense definitely underperformed this year. But then I see playoff team after playoff team with redskin rejects playing on defense. I mean, so there's a disconnect for me, and does that worry you at all in regards to maybe AP? Like you said, no, you're pushing all the buttons and you went all in because you went so far like last year, but there's still a young man game, JP. And
look, I think it's fair. That's why I said it's a big year for. I say it's the Trinity, right? It's DQ, AP, and JD5. It's a big year for all of those guys. For Jaden, he'll be around,
right?
But the perception, I think, from the fan base is going to change. Like if we see Jaden Daniels play, let's say he plays 9 games next year. What are you going to be thinking about for the future? You're going to think this is what he is, right? He's injury prone. He's too skinny. He doesn't know how to go down. He takes too many big hits, whatever. That would be the narrative going into year 4. Now, if he plays all 17 games and he plays like he did as a rookie, then you're going to know we've got a star quarterback for years to come. But he's got to prove something. And then I think with AP, you're absolutely right. Like you can see some good moves, some bad moves. Well, now he's got to fix his defense. And Toothpick mentioned it. They don't have many draft picks. So he's got to do some work this offseason to replenish. And it can't just be with Band-Aid old guys. And look, Von Miller came on our show every week, like him, but you just can't keep adding like Von Miller types to your team.
Right. My thing is though, you guys have seen the scenario that we saw in Atlanta. Dan Quinn preached the same thing in Atlanta about this brotherhood. He bringing in Delta forces. They all training together. He rinsed and repeated it. The fact is this. He's going to have to change who he is if he wants to be better. He's going to have to find a defensive coordinator and hold his feet to the fire. Because in Atlanta, that's not what he did. And it ended up hurting us long term because we're still getting rid of some of those players, some of those draft picks. I thought we had a straight line to Montana State for some unknown reason. I had no idea, because these guys will tell you. First thing I say, it's a team 75 miles away. Why are we drafting from Montana State? They'll tell you. They even say it all the time. But it was Dan Quinn and I'm sorry, I forgot the dude's name. He came from New England. He was a GM at the time. But he's going to have to change. He's going to have to change if he wants that defense to be. Because I told these guys at the beginning of the year, the simplest thing for Dan Quinn's defense, a good tight end. Where is him at? Seen in Atlanta. So he's going to have to change something along the way for him to be better. Because right now,
ultimately, he's going to have to prove it to you. But at least the narrative and what people said is that Quinn, once he was blown out of Atlanta, really took some time before jumping back into coaching to assess what he had done right and what he had done wrong. And allegedly he's changed some of these things. But look, they've changed course right now. They've moved on at defense coordinator, looking for a defense coordinator. They've moved on at offense coordinator. What we don't know, I'm not in there, is how much of that is front office driven? Like
Right.
some of the narrative about Cliff and meddling is kind of one of these words, is that where's the meddling coming from? You know that they've got a lot of analytics people telling Cliff, hey, we don't want you doing this. And then there's a little back and forth. Like what's really behind the scenes? What's the story there of them moving on for Cliff? I mean, Cliff might've left anyway if he got a head coaching job. Maybe he wanted to leave. You know, we don't really know the full story just yet. But Quinn has moved on from the coordinators. I just don't know if he was getting a little push, a little prodding from AP and you know, some other people in the front office.
Chat's going crazy about that. Let's get these last questions in for JP. He has a early morning. He's got to get up and do a radio. Okay. All right.
All I'd be doing is going up and probably dealing with my daughter, is probably battling my wife going to sleep.
All right. Who would you like to have as a defensive coordinator? Give me your top 3.
I'll let somebody else start because I got to think about 3. Maybe go 3.
Right, let's go top 2. Let's go top 2. Your top 2 choices.
This is for the
Commanders.
Because my team's looking for a defensive coordinator as well. But that's a whole other story.
That's right. D-Nod.
But I'm gonna tell you,
Cowboys can start calling us.
A guy that I wanted the Cowboys to look at, and we had him on staff. He's actually on another staff, but not in the same role. Is Al Harris, man. I want Al Harris to get a shot at being a D coordinator. He's done great things in Chicago with the secondary. They're leading the league in turnovers again, something that Dallas did when he was with us as a secondary coach under Dan Quinn. And kind of under the radar. I mean, his name's been mentioned here and there, but you don't hear it much out there. For you all, oh man, let me see, Charlie Brown, maybe. You know what I'm gonna say? maybe that guy can come back, you know, and help the defense. I don't know, man. It's hard to think positive for y'all, man. But I'm gonna work on. I'm gonna get a couple names too from like.
That's funny, Al, because I heard y'all first draft pick this year is gonna be what's his name? The Water Boy.
Bobby Boucher.
Bobby Boucher.
Yeah, I thought y'all was gonna get Bobby Boucher.
He can tackle. He can come, man. We take him on. We don't turn no. We ain't good enough to turn down to opportunities for anybody that wants to tackle, man.
Come on, lady.
I think he was with the Bengals. I can't remember his last name. Lou
Amarula.
Lou.
Yes, I think that
the Bengals too. I believe the Colts this year.
Okay. If we can pull him away, let's steal him.
I mean, if you wave a magic wand, here's the thing. He's not going to be – I think Ian Rappaport threw his name in there. He's not going to be the next defense coordinator. But if you could wave a magic wand, I would say Brian Flores would be number 1.
Yeah, I was thinking
he's going to probably be a head coach. And if he's not going to be a head coach, why wouldn't he just stay with Minnesota? I mean, maybe you could pay him more money, but what are you going to do? Pay him more money than Dan Quinn? I don't know. So that would be number 1. You know, there's always like these ex-head coaches who were defensive coordinators. Jonathan Gannon's getting all these interviews. He doesn't look like an inspiring guy, but maybe he's this great booth defensive coordinator. I think he had success with Philadelphia before they actually had all the talent that they assembled the last couple of years. And that's why he got the head coaching gig in Arizona before being fired. So there you go. Brian Flores, Jonathan Gannon. I'm only giving you 2.
Question: Does he have to drop his suit too? Did he have to drop his suit to be considered for NBA, NFL?
No, it has not been Schwartz. That's a good name right there, Paulie.
But he's not. Cleveland's keeping him. Cleveland's already said whatever coach they want to bring in on the offensive or head coach, they want to keep Schwartz as a D coordinator.
Huh.
They put that out there.
But I was talking about from the Broncos, Vance Joseph. Is he available?
Yeah, he's interviewing for head coaching jobs too. So, you know, another good candidate like Brian Flores, but I would expect, you know, you don't really make that lateral move from defense coordinator in one spot to defensive coordinator. That's where they toss in that fake assistant head coach job. Like if somebody
more money, JP. More money, man.
Right.
But I mean, how much is that worth, right? The assistant head coach of the Commanders was the passing game coordinator. At the beginning of the year, David Blau was the assistant quarterbacks coach. Now Pritchard takes a job in Stanford, at Stanford, right? So you could say Blau was the quarterbacks coach, but he leapfrogged Brian Johnson, who's been an offensive coordinator, who is the assistant head coach. Now they both got interviewed. Blau got the gig.
But maybe JP, maybe when he went in there and presented whatever he had to present to AP and to Adam, to Dan Quinn, he showed him how he can take care of Jaden. Because listen, I think I've made it a point over this weekend. If you look and you go back, JP, you'll see that every one of these teams from under center ran bootlegs this week, right? And I mean, I can't make this up.
Did you preach my gospel? I brought this up on the show and got murdered by Cakes because he was like, "You're telling me they got to go under center more? Last year they had one of the best offenses in the league with Jaden Daniels, and he was in shotgun all the time." But let's just take a look at what the Bears did. And Ben Johnson's a great play caller, but and they had some bumps on the road and maybe still do. But he said, "Look, Caleb Williams is a guy who had, I think, less than a dozen snaps in high school and college under center, right? He just never did it. He was a shotgun guy his whole life." And Ben Johnson said, "This is what we're going to do. And you may take some lumps early. It might be difficult, but we're going to benefit from this." And I just think it's a trend around the league, right? You're seeing more of that. It helps your running game. And I think it would protect Jaden Daniels more. You know, he showed us the skills in year one. He can do it all. He could run. He could thrive in a Shanahan type system, right? I don't know exactly what David Blau is going to do. I suspect they hired Blau over some of the other guys because they believe he's a rising star. And we've seen in Washington losing out on rising stars, whether it was Shanny or McVay, all these guys that were there. So I suspect that's why they did it. He's 30. He's never called plays, but as you know, as a quarterback in the league, I feel like they're rolling the dice a little bit, but they have confidence. Plus, he has been under Ben Johnson, been under Kevin O'Connell. He's been under some really good coaches.
Yeah. Lady A, you've got the last question here.
Okay, so you wrote your book, Faith Restored. Between that time frame when you wrote the book until now, what key, I guess you would say, events may have altered your perception and could possibly lead you to a second book? Well, a second one, a follow-up book, I should say.
Well, let me just tell you this. I'm taking a break from writing books for a while.
Okay.
I don't want to get into all the nitty gritty, but I wanted this book out before the season. And the person that I worked with, I'll just say that, didn't have it ready before the season. I finished my part in July. And so I'll just leave that. That's kind of behind the scenes stuff. But in terms of the writing of the book, like, you know, obviously the season went south. And so when you have a title like Faith Restored, people are kind of mocking it. Like, how can it be Faith Restored that finished 5-12? I think you do have to have some faith that, look, just removing Dan Snyder, which none of us thought was going to happen. Like, if we go back 3 years, right? We had this huge party, this Burgundy and Sold party. You would have thought that the Commanders won the Super Bowl. All right. So just removing Dan Snyder moved things in the right direction. And I do think that Josh Harris and the rest of these owners are committed to do everything they can to help this team win. And, you know, we can joke about stuff like culture and brotherhood, but it is night and day different from what it was, right? Like, even though, you know, I mentioned some of the little things organizationally, when Josh Harris takes over, he sees that at training camp, fans would have to bring their own chairs to sit down at training camp. Well, it's a very small fix, but they installed bleachers, right? And so they do a lot of these little things. I mean, let's not forget, they closed the RFK deal, which is monstrous, right?
Huge.
So, you know, if you toss out this season, which is tough, right? You think about all these big picture things that they've done. I do think they've set themselves up in a position where they can thrive long term. And they've got a quarterback, if he can stay upright, that we believe can help them compete each year for at least a playoff spot.
Well, we got.
I was one of those fans bringing my chair.
Oh
I've
yeah.
been there. Yeah.
We got like 4 more years until that new stadium is open. Understanding that RFK is pretty much down now, so
Yeah.
we should start seeing some things go up over this summer.
And kind of one of the things that inspired me to write the book too. I talked to Steve Sands, and Steve Sands,
Golf writer.
people know him from the Golf Channel and NBC Sports.
Yep.
But he was a guy who grew up in the area during the heyday when they're winning Super Bowls and everybody's on the bandwagon. And so he knew what it was like, right? Well, when the Commanders made the playoffs last year, he goes to the playoff game in Tampa. And by all accounts, it was about 50% Commanders fans in Tampa for that game, right? They win the game, and his son, who's 20, who he was trying to raise as a Commanders fan, who had never seen success, turned to him right after the game. And he goes, "Dad, this must have been what it was like for you when you were a kid." And I do think last year gave us all that feeling of what it was like during the Joe Gibbs era, right? When they were winning Super Bowls. When everybody, like the town stopped, everybody was watching the games. You know, pastors were ending in church early so people could get to the games, right? EB from the show, his father was a Presbyterian minister. And, you know, he would make sure the sermon's short so that people could get to the game or get home to watch the game on Sunday. And I think that we were getting more of that feeling. Like, it's not where it was, but it's heading in that direction. Now, this year, a bump in the road. But I think they've got the right people in charge. And I do think they have the quarterback, if he can stay upright and stay healthy, which is going to be, you know, a big task. We'll see. Toothpick, if you're right, if David Blau is going to run it. And I also wonder, too, this is just complete speculation, kind of like what I said about changing coordinators. I wonder how much is front office / analytics driven, that maybe having a guy like Blau can be more of a yes man, whereas Kingsbury, you know, was entrenched with his system. I run my system. I'm going to do it my way, where I'm not saying he's going to be a puppet, but maybe somebody that will listen more to a front office that wants to do things a certain way.
You just struck something in my mind, because I really want to let you go, because I know you have to get up early.
I'm good.
All right.
And I'll end.
But
unless you really want to get me out of here.
No, I'm not trying to get rid of you. I'm just trying to be respectful of your time.
No.
Right. But for me, unless you're a head coach, you still have a boss. Like, we cannot tell our bosses what we're going to do when our bosses say, "Hey, this is what I want from you." And I believe it was C. Wall. She absolutely said, when the Commanders started going forward on fourth down, that wasn't Dan Quinn, that wasn't Cliff Kingsbury, that was Jaden. She said Jaden would look at the sideline and say no. Right? We know, to Paulie's point here, that Jaden bailed out Cliff Kingsbury a lot last year. He bailed him out a lot. I feel it's not responsible to put all of that pressure on him in his second year. You should still continue to build an offense around him so that you can take as much off of his plate right now as possible until he gets to that, what they say, the third year is the year that the quarterbacks really, really make that jump, right? Until he gets to that point where he can run that offense, where you may call a play. I mean, Jaden was doing that already. You may call a play, Jaden sees the wrong play, and he's deep in the playbook and gets everybody on the same page. That's what you should do. But Cliff Kingsbury wasn't protecting him. You're asking him to do too much, and then you don't want to listen to your bosses. That's one too many strikes.
Well, we don't know. It's speculation, right?
We saw the games. Like, you had running backs that had 8+ yards of rushing, per attempt, and you continue to pass the ball. Make the game short. You're down wide receivers, right? Make the game short. Run the ball. Keep your defense on the sideline because your defense is poorest, and you continue to throw the ball 3 and out, interception, fumble, 3 and out. Your defense is on the field. They're tired. You're giving up 30 burgers and 50 burgers.
Well, I think of the play where Jaden gets hurt. I think that's probably the most damning play of the year, where he's running a read option play, decides to hold on to the ball, They were down 30-0 at the time. I can't remember the exact score, and he gets hurt. Why are you running that play at that point, right? But that's just part of his offense, and maybe they need to get away from that. Doesn't mean, look, pocket quarterbacks get hurt. Quarterbacks that stand in the pocket and never run get hurt. Like, there's no guarantee, but it does seem like they're exposing him to more situations. I would never take away his scramble, but he's not built like Josh Allen. To bring it back to Josh Allen, Josh Allen, I don't mind him being in a 10-yard tush push like he was this last week, right? Like, he's a beast. Jaden is thin. I mean, we made a whole big deal in the preseason because one picture made it look like he had like an inch bigger on his bicep. He's a toothpick.
Yeah,
you
he
know
is.
that.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he
so
is.
I think you want an offense where you're not going to expose him as much. Maybe like a bootleg type offense, which you talked about before, like a Shanahan style offense, where you have that traditional play action where you're turning your back, faking the handoff, rolling out. Now you can throw it. Because, there was one game I got sold on this whole being under center thing. There was a game this year where they had a critical third down where Jaden was under center, faked it, and I think he hit Bates for just a quick 7-8 yard third down. But it's like, why don't they do that more often?
Because it's not Cliff's system. I believe that probably was somebody else's play that Cliff, allowed to go. I mean, I just don't believe that Cliff, and we'll see if he gets a head coaching job, how he protects his next quarterback. If he learned anything from his 2 previous stops with Arizona, with Calamari, here with Jaden Daniels, and if he gets a head coaching job, we'll see how that quarterback is protected. Or
just to be fair to Cliff, I'm not saying I was his biggest fan, but to my point earlier, you can name any offensive coordinator. You got to deal with backups, not having your top receiver for, I don't remember exactly how many games, but for half the season, you don't have your top receiver. Noah Brown was supposed to be the number 2. I mean, he never was really there. I mean, you were undermanned, right? And then you don't have your quarterback. I mean, you're not. I don't care if we say Ben Johnson's the best offensive coordinator in the game, go with him, right? Ben Johnson's not doing that much with Marcus Mariota and Josh Johnson and your receivers not being there. You need the horses. That's the big thing. Like, I truly believe that this season was wrecked by injuries.
Yep.
Number 1 at quarterback. And, if Jaden plays all 17 games, Cliff Kingsbury's probably back as offensive coordinator. We're not having this discussion.
Yeah. Well, I know this. I know the best we saw the offense play this year had to be the Denver game. Had to be the Denver game. Marcus Mariota, and I do believe he wasn't under center. I mean, he was not in shotgun like the whole game. It was a mix. You had the offense working. It looked like what we should have seen from the beginning of the season. That's what that offense looked like. I appreciated it, but I don't know. I still believe, look at Seattle. They run the ball. They have one of the best wide receivers in the league, and Smith and Jigba, and they still get their passes off. Smith and Jigba still gets his yards. Their running back, Kenneth Walker, is amazing. He's a tough runner, and not to mention Charbonnet. I think that's how you say his name. He, that's a heck of a 1-2 punch, especially when you had, Krosky Merritt, you had C-Rod, and then not even to mention McNichols, because you lost Eckler early.
I think you just look at this toothpick, and I don't know where it ends up at the end of the year, but I remember looking at this kind of in the middle of the season. There was only one team that was in shotgun more than Washington. I can't remember what it was, right? So
yeah.
You're just exposing Jaden more, and I don't think it helps your running game as much. And even if he's not super comfortable with it, we saw what Chicago did this year. They changed it. Caleb had never been under center, and they committed to it, and I think it helps him long-term, and I think the same thing would happen with Jaden Daniels, because Jaden has shown us he can do all the throws. He can read defenses. This isn't an RG3 situation where RG3 didn't have that ability to read defenses. Jaden can do it.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully with David Blau, they got the right fit offense, and we'll see.
JP, I got a question for you on the rest. Do you feel that DQ, being that the defense is his side of the ball, will he still be very hands-on this year, or will he be able to find a defensive coordinator that he can trust to be able to take more of the head coach of overall manager role, or will he still be very hands-on?
I think he wants to do the manager role.
Okay.
I've never been a head football coach. I don't know how it works. Like Mike Tomlin wasn't calling plays, right? But I assume they're in the mix. And that's one thing that DQ talked about it, that, you know, when he was, even though they did demote Joe Witt, he was like, I'm part of this. If I'm Dan Quinn and I'm in year 3 and my seat is at least warm, I'm not completely just handing it over and not paying attention. You know, I'm going to have some input. So I do think, you know, there was some at least like thrown out there. Well, would you continue to call plays next season? And he at least entertained that, but I don't think that that's what they're going to do. I think they're probably going to get a defensive coordinator here in the next week or so. You know, they've been interviewing people.
Also, Eberflus is available too. If y'all,
no, we don't need Eberflus.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay away from Eberflus.
Yeah. I think that his managerial role was way better than Ron Rivera's. Like Ron would just sit there with his arms crossed, looking confused, thinking about what he's ordering for dinner. Where Dan Quinn is involved, you see him on the headset, you see him involved with the referees, you see him talking to players, you see him getting excited when the guys do something great. So as far as his managerial skills, I appreciate them, but I think he wants to be in the know about everything. You know, what injuries do we have? Okay, can we get this person in and help those coaches out in situations like that? But you're a defensive guy, man. The guy in Seattle still calls his plays. Like, he's like, I have a DC, but
I haven't paid enough attention. Is D'Amico Ryans calling the plays?
No, they showed his defensive coordinator last night.
Yeah.
I forgot his name, but they showed him several times last night when they kept highlighting that number 1 defense that was looking like it against Pittsburgh.
Yeah, so I mean, we'll see. I look forward to like the rest of these playoffs. And seeing
I think, I mean, but to kind of wrap this up, for the Commanders to be successful, we know this. More important than the coordinators is what Adam Peters is going to have to do this offseason, bringing in the right players.
Yes.
And, you know, cross your fingers that Jaden can stay healthy. Because, you know, if I set the over-under right now at 11.5 games,
I'm taking the over. I'm taking the over. If you set it at 11.5 games played by Jaden, I'm taking the over.
It has to be for you all to be successful.
I'm taking the over. I
got
you have full confidence, though?
Yes. You
have full confidence he can stay healthy? He hasn't proven that.
He's saying that, JP.
No.
That.
I'm going to tell you.
His hand is crossed behind his back.
What is it? No. Both hands right here. Listen, I believe that Jaden is an ultra competitive person. I believe he has that competitive spirit like Michael Jordan. He has that competitive spirit like Kobe Bryant. Don't say the wrong thing to Jaden, because he's going to go out here and prove to you that he's better than you. But you can't do it by yourself.
And I hope you're right. I just think it remains to be seen, right? It's not fair, but some guys are injury prone, right? Anthony Davis is back, going to have another surgery, right?
Yeah, he's hurt. Yep.
Anthony Davis is just one of those guys that always gets hurt. It's not necessarily his fault. It just is, right? And some guys tend to be durable. And right now, I think the jury is out. Now, what Jaden has, if you want to believe in Jaden's durability, he has his collegiate career where he didn't really miss much time, if any. He has his rookie season. He started every game. He was there. But this season makes you question it, because it wasn't just one time and him missing. It was 3 different times, him coming back and then getting hurt. And then they shut him down at the end of the year.
I believe it all starts in training camp. If you have another soft training camp the way you had a soft training camp this year, the same thing will happen. You can't. This is a collision.
Yeah, but a soft training camp has nothing to do with him scrambling and his arm completely turning around.
That's the freak accident. That's the outlier. Take that away.
I got a hint for you, Toothpick.
Yeah,
you want Jay to make 12 games? Get rid of the part of the playbook where Cliff Kingsbury kept having him do quarterback runs in the RPO offense. Okay, that's how you stop. I told you all last year, if your quarterback's your leading rusher last year, you're going to have a terrible year. And he was off to being the leading rusher again, even though you had a stable of backs. And Cliff Kingsbury didn't want to use it. He liked the RPO, quarterback draws. And I said, as long as you keep putting that young kid in harm's way, he's not going to make it this season. So that's if you want to make him through 12 games, get rid of that part of the playbook and make sure Dan Quinn tell Blow that he cannot use that part of the playbook. I don't care if it's tush push, whatever, none of it. Get your big back, get your tight end to run those plays. He'll make 12 games that way. Like I said, his injury history didn't start until he got here with Kingsbury.
Yeah, and that's why I said we'll see if Cliff has learned at his next stop, to protect your quarterback and not put them in harm's way.
He also has to learn too, Toothpick. He needs to learn to avoid it. He's the biggest factor in this.
Yeah,
absolutely.
He needs to learn to not take the hits. He needs to learn to sometimes not extend plays. He needs to learn how to slide better. He needs to learn that you don't always have to go for the extra yards at times, right? There were some times when he didn't get hurt, but you were watching as a fan, like, what is he doing? I feel like in one of those games where he did ultimately get hurt, right before he took on like 3 tacklers, it was like, what the heck is he thinking?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to take the L on 2nd and 10 because it's okay because you can keep playing the game. So I think the coordinator is a factor and the offensive style that they run is a factor. And kind of, Alvin, what you talked about, the plays that they decide to run is a factor. But he's the biggest factor. Yeah. Right?
But he's a dog, JP. He's your dog. Oh, and he's your goon on the field in a sense.
He is.
And you have to, and I totally agree with you. You say he has to be more responsible for his own well-being. Absolutely. But also the team he is the identity of the team, and especially the offense, in regards to that mentality, that attitude, and it's a delicate line, but I 1,000% agree. Jaden has to be the number one protector of his durability and his well-being, and so he has to get a coordinator who knows how to balance that.
Well, a perfect example would be up the road, Baltimore, Lamar Jackson. There's without a doubt, Lamar Jackson is the best player on that Baltimore Ravens team, especially when it comes to the offense. But now you start to put more people around him. You got Derrick Henry, you got Likely, you got Andrews, you got Zay Flowers, and a bunch of other wide receivers. Not even to mention that you had D Hop there, and you forgot that he was there, right? But when Lamar goes down off of a freak accident by getting hit and his back is bad, now they have no choice but to turn to the other players on the offense, right? Lamar comes back, and you see what they do to people. Because
I know Derrick Henry was still in the roster.
Yeah, you forgot that 22 is a monster, right? So you have to absolutely surround him with talent. That's on AP. That's on the rest of the scouts to go out and look at these young free agents that are coming off of their rookie deals, get faster, get younger, an infusion of talent. But it has to start on the defensive side as well. You can't lose people on your offensive side. Like, no one's talking about Chris Paul. You can't lose Chris Paul. You really can't. He stepped in this year, did a great job at guard to the point where we started to look at our first round pick last year and like, what's wrong with him? Well, there's a guard that's been here for a while that's been brought up through the system, and now he's performing in this next to last year when he's given an opportunity. So you can't lose people like that no one's thinking about, right? You have to keep your young talent in-house and don't let it get out. That's my soapbox right there. That's my soapbox.
But also, pick more so than anything talent you may give, JD. You know one of the most underrated things, and I'm sure somebody said this already, that you can give a young quarterback is a tough, opportunistic defense that shortens, gets turnovers, gets unexpected scores, shortens the fields for him sometimes. And that was I think the biggest drop off for you all And things that she granted Jayden didn't play, but the defense took such a massive drop off, and it wasn't great the first year, but it was opportunistic.
It was the same defense. It was the same defense we saw this year. The only difference was the offense wasn't scoring. When the offense isn't scoring, remember the last year we had like a 10-play drive that lasted almost like 11 minutes. Like your girl, what's the girl on YouTube that does the NFL, Anna, whatever her name is, right?
Sure.
Like she talked about it. She was like, Commanders, are you still driving? Yeah, right. That's what we did last year. Defense stayed on the field. They were rested. They could come in, get one stop. You got to get stops. The name of the games is stops, right? Stop you from scoring, and we score.
Church warfare.
That's what it is. Wow. JP, you guys can catch JP tomorrow from 6 to 10 on 106.7 The Fan, simulcast on Team 980. Also, you guys are down in Richmond. They are on Monumental Sports, YouTube now as well.
Now we're on YouTube Live.
Yep.
Yeah, I can watch y'all stream a lot, so I will turn on my radio just for you, JP, and you guys. I will do that, like I said, because I'm a streaming guy most of the time because that works the best. Because
believe me, the world has changed. This is our 30th year doing it. Yes. When we started out, there were no podcasts. Actually, our show was one of the first across the country for our company to be podcast. But now, everything streaming. So we're embracing all the platforms. So however you consume the Junkies is good because I'm not qualified to do anything else at this point. Need to keep this thing going. I got an 8-year-old that's hopefully sleeping upstairs.
I got 10 years to
college.
Right.
I got to get her to college. So keep me going. Keep listening to the show, checking it out. And you guys keep thriving with the First String Podcast, man. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, we appreciate you. Shoot out a hello to all the fellas tomorrow. Let Cakes know he's my guy. Bish is still my guy. EP, all of them, man. Just your whole crew, man. Everybody's good. Ben Strober's amazing. So, man, and
Ben Strober, Locked On Wizards podcast.
Of course, my guy Mike. He's amazing, so we gotta get him on, and I gotta see Valdez. That's my favorite dude now. He just keeps everything running. Valdez is like the unhidden gem for the Junkies. He's real good. I like Valdez.
I think you mean hidden gem.
The hidden gem. Yeah, he's the hidden gem. My bad. I said unhidden gem, didn't I? Yeah, he's the hidden gem. Yeah.
So, all right, guys. Thanks a lot.
Appreciate you. All right, check out Faith Restored. That is JP's book. We have been getting it up there. There it is. All right. So you can order that book, Faith Restored, on faithrestored.com. So give JP a look right there, man. We really do appreciate him stopping by and showing us a little love today. Man, Al, listen, this off season is going to be good, but right now what we got to talk about is these divisional games that we have coming up, right? Now, yes. We'll talk about them. We're not going to make our picks because we'll do that in our chat because Lady A had to leave, said has to go to work. So we'll talk about these divisional round games that we have coming up. First off, we have your Buffalo Bills taking on the Denver Broncos. Yeah, the Denver Broncos, right?
Yep.
That's the first game up on Saturday, right? Man, Bo Nix, Josh Allen, and Josh Allen's battling a little bit of injury as well, right?
He's healthy. This is the thing with this pick, and and I know it's been said so many times over, probably in every pundit, every show. If Josh can't do it this year, then when will he do it?
He got to do it this year. If he don't do it this year, he's going to never get a chance.
These young boys are coming, man. As you see in this playoffs, there's only 2 old guys left: Stafford and Allen. Yeah. Everybody else, and like I said, and Rodgers went out last night. So I mean, what else do you have left? And I don't think the culmination of these young guys, they're going to quit. You know what I'm saying? In regard, because you have some that's biting at their bits to get here. You got, like I said, you got Jayden. If he gets a team and the Commanders are able to put some things together, he's a young guy that was better than both. That was thought to be better than Caleb and Drake May.
Yeah.
It's only I think, and that's one thing. I mean, I think Drake May's had. You said him earlier. I like what Drake May's a hell of a quarterback. I joke with you all that he was the best quarterback in the draft last year. I said it to you all the time. Y'all used to get mad at me, but honestly, I think his rise has been because Jaden's been absent and been hurt, and he's been injured, so he's been out of the spotlight, out of people's eyes, and this is a what have you done for me lately type of league. So if you're out injured and not prepared, they go on to the next thing, and Drake May has showed why people are talking about him. I mean, like I said, he's probably a MVP favorite, maybe runner up, or maybe even the winner. So I mean,
And the crazy part about it, Al, is Drake May could be the first quarterback from that draft class of Caleb, Jaden, Drake May, Michael Penix Jr., Bo Nix, JJ McCarthy, right? Did I miss one? Did I miss any of the quarterbacks from that draft class? Because listen, that was that is definitely going to be
Michael Penix was in it too.
I said Michael Penix, right? That is definitely going to be the draft class that is compared to the Jim Kelly, the that whole draft class when all of those quarterbacks came out. That
with Dan Marino and all them.
Jim Kelly, Dan Marino, I believe Warren Moon came in the same year as them. And man, that thing was loaded, right? But
what
I'm saying here is we thought that Jaden was going to win an MVP this year. We thought that Jaden name was up there for MVP off of what happened last year. And here comes Drake May. You got 3 of the quarterbacks from that draft class still alive in the playoffs. You got Bo Nix.
Not just alive, thriving.
Yeah, thrive. You got Bo Nix, you got Caleb, and you got Drake May. Out of the 8 teams that's left.
And I think, I mean, you got one that's a 1 seed being Bo Nix.
Yep.
You got another 2 seed being Drake May.
And Caleb.
And Caleb being a 2 seed. Yeah, exactly. So
and not to mention that Caleb has home field as long as they stay alive in the playoffs now.
Well, he has it up to next week unless Seattle loses. Because he only has one more home game.
I'm sorry. I'm thinking Philly was number 1. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. So yeah, that's absolutely correct. Yeah. But this Buffalo Denver game that we're looking at here, Al, give me one key to this game.
Oh, can Denver get back? Excuse me, not Denver. Can Buffalo get back to running the ball? Denver is renowned for led the league in sacks, and also led the league in fewest sacks allowed. So you got to keep that defense off balance. If you let them pin their ears back and pay off on Josh, we've seen Josh. I don't want Josh going to Superman mode. They ran the ball the least amount of yards for yards last week, but still was able to get a win in Jacksonville. They have to get back to doing it. Their strong suit is their offensive line. They're one of the best. I think according to Pro Football Focus, they have like one of the top 2 or 3 offensive lines in the game.
Trench warfare, baby.
Trench warfare. They have to run the ball and control the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
And if you do that, you keep those guys off of Josh Allen, and Josh Allen can be available to make plays when it matters. Because one thing I do trust Josh Allen to do is he's, you ever been, you remember back in the day when it was like you'd be playing with your friends young, and then the old kid would come and he'll be the both side quarterback. He'll be the all-time quarterback for both sides. Because he could see things better, throw the ball better, and he was just better doing it. That's what Josh Allen looks like out there when he's put into pressure situations or his team needs to score or a big play. He just looks better than everyone else. He looks like the older kid playing with little kids. And that's what I need. But the only way you get that Josh Allen is if you control the line of scrimmage and run the ball and keep those guys off of him in passing situations. So the key to me is get James Cook. If James Cook could get near 100 yards or over 100 yards this week, I think Buffalo gets the victory.
Yeah. Well, we did have one Cook that showed out last week. It just happened to be Brandon Cook. And Al, we noticed that you didn't say anything for the Denver Broncos, but John had a question. He says, Al, where'd you find that jersey that says space for rent, space for lease on the front? I don't know.
No, I didn't look for it, John. I didn't look for
it
need. I only had. So guess what? I retired my Pittsburgh jersey. I'm no longer up for sale in Pittsburgh. I've sold the condo. I've put everything up for sale. Closed the office.
Can't get traded back. You told him not to trade.
There's a for sale sign in the window. So you will not hear any more Pittsburgh Steeler nonsense out of me. I've told you when Mike leave, I'm gone.
All right. So for me, I'm going to go Denver since you didn't. Denver's key to the game is to make Josh Allen human. Right? Make Josh Allen human.
How do you suggest they do that?
What you got to do is you have to not allow him to see the field as well as he wants to. You have to muddy up the picture because, like you said, he's that older quarterback that has seen a lot. He sees the field a lot better, right? So you got to play games in that secondary. You got to bring blitzes from angles that you didn't know that he could bring them, because you also know that he has a coach over there that's done this before. So Buffalo's always going to the divisional round of the playoffs. So this is not new for them. So you gotta muddy his picture up. You gotta rush. You gotta make him speed up his processes with that defense that you have, Denver, and give your offense some short fields, just like Al said. Let's move on.
I got one question for you.
Okay.
Can Bo Nix be the reason Denver wins?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
It has to be complementary football.
Okay.
All three phases for Denver. And the reason why, it's not because they're not capable of doing it. It's not because they're not capable of doing it. But what it is this is his first time in the playoffs. He didn't play last week. Yes, it is.
He played last year.
Right, last year, because Kansas City laid down. And what happened?
Well, they got boat raced.
They did. They absolutely got.
They weren't supposed to be there.
They were not.
So they were playing house money.
Yeah, Kansas City absolutely laid down.
They did. But there's that, that takes that jitters. That he was the.
No, it really don't. It really don't. Because you're the number one seed. You're expected to win this game.
The most playoff experience of any of the second-year quarterbacks in the playoffs.
No, he didn't.
He does now.
He played one game.
He did. That's who else? That's whatever first-year quarterback or second-year quarterback had more. Because Jaden wasn't there.
What are you talking about? Jaden played 3 games in the playoffs last year.
In this year's playoffs. That's my question.
Okay, you're right. Okay,
this year's playoff. He entered this year's playoffs with the most playoff experience of any second-year quarterback in this year's playoffs, being more than Drake May, more than Caleb. That was the only other 2 that were in this.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying. So he's already been through this.
He can't be the reason. He's still just a second-year player, right? Listen, he may have his diaper off, right? But he's walking around.
He might got wobbly legs. He got pull-ups on. He can sit and squat by himself. He got the pull-ups on that, baby.
Right. He got, but he still got wobbly legs. You know what I mean? He still got wobbly legs. All right. He's still a baby in this process. Okay. He's still a baby.
I hope so for Buffalo's sake. Yes, I do.
All right. The 49ers and the Seattle Seahawks here. Al, give us a key.
Man, I told you I must commend what San Francisco has done with all these injuries. I mean, they're walking injury ward, man.
They're a mass unit.
Yes, they are. I mean, Seattle, this is the only thing that I think that may bode well for San Francisco. Seattle's a very young team.
Yeah.
And what we've seen with young teams, more so in the college football playoffs than we have in the NFL playoffs, is that very young teams don't do well with too much rest. They come out a little slow, a little apprehensive. And San Francisco coming off being in playoff mode the last 3 weeks, having to win out to get to that final game against Seattle for that number 1 seed, and playing that game and playing last week, they're in playoff mode. And if you don't come with the intensity to match that from Seattle's standpoint, you could find yourself down early where you're panicking, rushing, and out of sorts. And then you're trying to catch up. So that could happen. And for San Francisco's sake, I hope that's the best chance they have to be in this game. Because if Seattle comes out rested, ready, in Raw, it could get ugly real early because, like I said, I just don't think that San Francisco has the horses to keep up with them, especially when they know that they're one trick pony with McCaffrey.
Yeah, well, okay. That one trick pony they haven't figured out. Like McCaffrey's played every game this year, and here's the thing: as much as you say that San Fran is that walking mass unit, right? Um, that one player that has been upright has been the driving force. He's the straw that stirs the drink. That's Christian McCaffrey.
Yes, he
And
has.
and you gave us San Fran's point, right? You gave us. I'm sorry, you gave us Seattle's point.
I gave a point that I thought the help that was beneficial for San Francisco if they wanted
Okay.
to be had a chance. Yes.
Okay, so for me, I'm gonna stay with San Fran. Okay, what is it that you have to do? This is an opponent that you are very familiar with.
Yep.
This is an opponent that Cal should know inside out. And what do they say in the playoffs? Your playbook condenses, right?
Yep.
So you got to be looking at what is their identity, what is their bread and butter, and you gotta take it away. You gotta say today is not the day that Smith and Jigba beats us. How do you do it? You double him, you over under him, you cloud the coverage, you make it look like it's man to man, even though they're going to move him all around. You cannot let him beat you, and then you have to stop that running game of Kenneth Walker and Charbonnet, right? So you can commit as many to the box, but you better have 2 on 11.
But that's a pick. What you're saying is a lot.
That is.
I mean, you're not giving me a lot of optimism when it comes to San Francisco. They got to stop the running backs. They got to stop Smith and Jigba and fight that defense.
And
you ain't giving them much of a chance. Hey, the only sword I got is McCaffrey.
Hey, it's a rock fight. You gotta make it a rock fight. And here's the thing. You got to use that said math when you passing out the rocks.
Oh man.
1 for you, 1 for me. 2 for you, 1, 2 for me. That's what you got to. You got to use that said math.
Yeah, you're right.
You got to use that said math when you're passing out the rocks, so that you have more rocks than they do. You know, you got to use that said math.
We know said head on the rocks. It's gonna be a rock shortage on our side.
Well, we had 5 rocks. How they get 15? Yeah, I divided them evenly. Right?
Yeah. When I handed them out, I gave you just something I gave myself. And what he didn't tell you is he has some in his pocket already.
That's what it is. All right. We got the Texans and the Patriots. Now, this is 2 strong defenses, Al. Now, give me one key. Which team you taking, Al?
Oh, man. Now that the Houston Texans have beaten Pittsburgh, I really like – I kept saying I didn't trust C.J. Stroud. And for good reason last night, because he did everything he could to give Pittsburgh that game.
Oh, he kept both teams in the game.
I don't understand what was going on with this whole snap situation. He was dropping snaps in his hand, but that's neither here nor there at this point because they won the game. I think that was good for him to get that game out of the way, a game they probably should have lost or could have lost and didn't lose. Man, let me tell you something. What we always say on this show, defense what?
Defense wins games, wins championships.
Travels.
Oh, that too. It travels.
And I think that defense will travel. Even though it's a dome team, for New England's sake, weather may play. It better be cold, windy, and maybe even snowy. Because you got to do something to get that defense off their skis. Because if they just pinning their heads back and coming in, because everybody tackles, everybody hits, and everybody's angry. That's how Houston plays defense. They play like you walking in and smacked all their mamas, and then they cut the lights out, and it's a rumble in the jungle because that's how they play, and that's what they did to Pittsburgh because it was like we don't care. I heard what you said to my mama. Boom, 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 boom. Just kept beating them, and I'm sitting here like, man, let up on these boys. So I like Houston. I don't fully trust Mike Vrabel yet. Great coach, great resume, but it is known to lose as a top seed often. And I think the run, and I don't know if Drake May has seen the onslaught he may see of cornerback at every level. Shazier, Lassiter, Stingley, Hunter, Anderson. I mean, They got dogs, man. I mean, cold just goons at every level, and they're gonna be coming. So I'm gonna ride with Houston this week, man. I think like I said, defense travels, and I think if CJ can limit the turnovers and just hand the ball off to that young kid Marks, or hopefully Nico Collins is healthy. I haven't heard anything on
The
his injury
concussion, yeah,
situation.
on a short week.
Yeah, in a short week. I like a lot of things about Houston, man. I mean, I was arguing with someone the other day about them being a sleeper Super Bowl pick, and he said a buddy of mine said he liked Houston and Seattle in the Super Bowl, and I said the league wouldn't like that because it wouldn't be enough offense because they don't want to have a 10-6 Super Bowl. So it may be some maneuvering done behind the scenes, like our HR pulling some strings and making some funny calls here and there. But I like Houston to be. They have the team, and they're hot. They're playing their best ball at the right time.
Well, the Patriots also have a really good defense. They have a really good defense.
I like Houston.
No, not like Houston. Not like Houston. It's missing a couple of players, right? I think that Drake may have gotten his bad game out of the way, and he came on late in the game to throw a touchdown for the Patriots to seal that victory. On was it Sunday night? It was Sunday night. Yeah. So for me, what the Patriots need to do is they got to run the ball. Travion Henderson and those guys got to run the ball because you cannot go into this game and let this dude be a sitting duck, right? So you got to get them play action passes going. You got to run that ball, establish the run versus them. Yes, you're going to have some 3 and outs. Establish that run, get some play action passes in, and when you catch them in a man-to-man, hopefully you got some man beaters called, but take a profit. Keep this defense on the field. I remember, hey Al, do you remember playing against option teams, right? And it was frustrating, and they would just frustrate you.
Oxon Hill used to have one of the meanest options around.
It would just frustrate you.
They had 3 good backs.
It frustrates you. And meanwhile, they're getting 3 and 4 yards and staying on the field, 3 and 4 yards. That's what New England has to do to the Houston Texans. They have to take a profit.
But that's a hard ass.
It is. But guess what? You got to do it. You got to get that defense so frustrated that they make that one mistake.
But it's so disciplined, man. That's a tough. But I agree with you. You're right about they need to keep that defense off balance.
You got to keep it off balance. And you gotta treat them. You gotta do it that way. So that's how. And then it spreads the responsibility. It doesn't put it all on Drake May, right? You give some to the wide receivers, you give some to the running backs, but you have to keep that defense off balance. You have to. All right, our final game of the divisional round will be the Rams traveling to Chicago to take on the Bears. This game goes off at 5:30 p.m. I'm sorry, 6:30. Give me one key, Al.
Oh man.
Come on, tell us how the old man gonna get it done.
I think they're going. The Bears' offense has been anemic through 3 quarters. In a lot of these games, they cannot come out like that in this game because the Rams will get up early, and McVay, you won't have to worry about him not knowing how to close a game. I know LaFleur kept letting you back in the game and not knowing how to take the air of the ball, and not knowing how to shorten that clock, or kept giving him opportunities all throughout that 4th quarter. I promise you one thing. If Sean McVay has a 21-6 lead in the 4th quarter, game over for the Bears.
Yeah. Okay.
So the Bears got to score early and often. I'm not sure who I like in this game just yet. Because I like what the Rams do. But, like I said, Caleb's a home kid, man. Love what he's doing. Like I said, I want success for the young man. But I don't know if they're quite ready for it yet. So I'm up in the air. I think the Rams, the better team, better coach usually wins. Better quarterback, better coach usually wins.
Yep.
And I think in this situation, McVay's the better coach and Stafford's the better quarterback. So I'm going to go that route this game.
Okay. All right. So listen, I'm going to give it to you for the Bears.
Okay.
All right. What player spawned that comeback for the Bears?
What
I'll give you a
player?
clue. I'll give you a clue. He's a
What,
bulldog.
what player spawned
What
Swift?
player? What player? Yep,
Swift.
Swift. Right.
He started running hard in the second half.
Swift started running so hard in the second half. The question is, where was he in the first half? Like, was he on secret probation?
Defense was biting him, man. I mean, Green Bay defense, they played as if they had won the game in this. That's what bothered me the most. I was so disappointed in how Green Bay's effort in this. I don't know if we talking with them, talking to somebody, but I was so disappointed in the effort. They went into the halftime locker room and started calling people that they knew and trying to figure out where the after party for the game, celebration for the game was going to be.
Yeah, I heard that. But what you got to do is you can't let Caleb be frustrated at the beginning of this game. You have to take the pressure off him. You got the wide receivers. You got a tight end. You got a tight end, boy. You got a tight end.
Two of them, Komet and Loveland.
And look, yes, you got some tight ends. So what you got to do, you got to give that ball to Swift. You got to put that ball in his belly. You got to put it in his belly. You got to run them play action passes because it's going to suck that defense in. And the thing about it is, the reason I'm saying run the ball is because the Carolina Panthers showed that the Rams can be ran on. Right? The Rams can be ran on. The Rams were run on last year when they played the Philadelphia Eagles, right? That defense still is susceptible to the run. And then when it's time to pass, you look for Manny Forbes. You look for Emmanuel Forbes, or you look for Cam Curl. Yes, those old commanders. And you take advantage of them.
Man, like I said, okay.
You take advantage of them because
I hear you, Pick. I hear you, but I'm going to tell you, better make sure the best thing you said is you better run the ball. And I think that they better run the ball, control. But that's playoff football to me, man.
Find the fish. Find the fish, and the fish wears number one.
Ooh, okay.
That's what it is. Okay, Al, you do not have we're not asking you for a foursome today. Okay. We got a spin off on it. Where we got?
Yeah, man. I'm trying to figure out, like I said, because it wasn't enough performances to go through. So we kind of went through this. So what I'm going to do is the top 4 coaches.
Oh, okay.
That I would like to trade off and bring them to the to the golf course. And just have a little chat with them and see if I can work with them into taking different positions.
Okay. Come on, let's get it. I like this.
So, the first coach I'd like to see, I'm going to go talk to Mike Tomlin, my man.
Oh, yeah. I knew you was going to talk to Mike T.
I'm going to talk to Mike. And I'm going to say, man, come on, ride on my car, Mike. Because I heard there's a big fan of yours who would love to be coached by you in no other place but Baltimore. Can you just come on down 95? Come on down Breezeway and stop on through?
They not letting that happen.
We're gonna work the contract. We're gonna work the contract situation out. We're gonna do some conversation.
You send us some trades.
I heard that Lamar has put it out there in the grapevine that he would love to be coached by you. So that's the first coach I'm gonna bring on over.
Okay.
Tuesday. The next coach I'm gonna bring over is Kevin Stefanski. Not a fan of his. But what I am going to do is I'm going to take you to a division that wants you, that you're going to have 2 quarterbacks to play with, the best running back potentially in the business, and a defense already set. So if you can't get it done here, you can't get it done nowhere. So I'm going to say, go ahead down Atlanta and see what you're working with.
Okay.
Go from the AFC to the NFC. We're going to go over there. The next coach I'm gonna call old Harbaugh.
Oh, Harbaugh.
I said, I'm gonna give you the world. Where's that world? New York City.
New York City.
New York City. And I'm gonna say, I got a quarterback, I got a wide receiver, I got an all-pro, I got a second-team all-pro defensive end. I got a young up-and-coming other defensive end. I got a defense that just needs direction. I got an offense that just needs direction. I got a standout left tackle, Stallworth left tackle. Let's see what kind of go. Dealings happen where pick
The golf course.
at the golf course. So we're gonna see if we can get a couple deals done. So got Harbaugh going to New York. I'm gonna put Mike down Baltimore. We're gonna work a little conversation thing out. I'm gonna put Stefanski in Atlanta. Then I got one more. I got one more coach to bring in here,
All right.
and this is gonna shock you
I'm listening.
because this is gonna be a repeat. We're gonna drop our suit, and we're gonna bring Brian Flores back to Miami.
No way. That's what
We're
this
gonna work our differences out, Pick.
No,
we're gonna work our
now,
differences out.
you must have a bottle of tequila, and no charges being pressed.
We're gonna work our differences out.
You put
Have
them
you
in a
seen-
phone booth.
I've talked to the Ross family. I made them see the flaw in their ways. They had it but didn't know it. But once what they say, you don't realize how good you had it until it's gone.
Till it's gone.
And it's gone.
I don't.
I'm gonna find a way. See, this is why I was going on the golf course, man. This is our foursome, man. Things happen in our foursome, they don't happen nowhere else. Now, I ain't saying these are the 4 best candidates. These are the people I'm going to fight, and the jobs I want them to take.
Okay. So I'm proud of you for not saying that you about to pull your defensive coordinator out of a rabbit out of a hat, or maybe I should say the hat out of the rabbit. But I mean, I can appreciate that, right? But Al, I'm telling you right now, the only way that's getting worked out is if that dude can get into a phone booth with that owner and no charges be pressed.
But I do but real all jokes aside though, I like Mike for that Miami job. Tell me.
Yeah.
They need a culture. They need a coach in that Miami.
Yeah.
And I think he's a culture setter. And I know that the Rooneys would never let Mike go to Baltimore, even though Lamar. But this is where this is where I'm gonna go with this. I'm gonna get Mike Tomlin to Miami and get Lamar out of Baltimore, traded to Miami.
Out of Baltimore, you giving up everything.
Okay, I got a quarterback. I got a coach and a quarterback. What did I say? If you got the coach, you got the quarterback right.
Yep,
what you do. That's it.
You right. In Al's defense, D'Amico Ryan sued the Texans. Now he's throwing the winning coaches. He's one of the winningest coaches in Texas.
See, John good for facts sometimes. That big old head ain't just got a whole bunch of nonsense in it. He got some things, and he got to do some research, man. It ain't just for weights and counting sets, man. That's good. I'm glad to hear about that, man.
He called me today. He was getting the rep in, so he's getting.
I need to get him that work. I need to get on. That's what I do. I need to get in the gym with him, man. I got to get myself back in tip-top physical shape, man. That's my I'm a couple days behind on my New Year's resolution.
He'll get your gym set all up in your garage. He'll tell you what to get and where to get it and how to get it.
Okay, I got mats. I'm all about calisthenics and body weight stuff, man. I'm doing and countable. I don't need I lifted weights all my life, man. I don't need a whole bunch of life. I'm just doing body weight and cowbell. Not cowbell, Lord, cowbell. I said cowbell.
Calisthenics.
Not calisthenics, but it's the weight I got.
The kettlebells.
Kettlebell. Thank you. I said cowbell. Lord have mercy.
You need more cowbell. Everybody need more cowbell. Got a fever. Got a fever. Need more cowbells. All right, Al. I think we covered everything, man. We'll talk a little college football playoffs on Saturday. Do not forget that Saturday we will be live streaming the Oh man, which game is it?
Saturday, I'll be with one of our I won't be here Saturday because I meant to tell you that. I meant to tell you that. I'll be with one of our special guests all the time, Coach Dave Cox. I'm gonna be be in Philly for the St. John's game. They got a big game against St. John's Saturday night at Xfinity Center in Philadelphia. So we going on up, man.
Coach Cox, huh?
I'm laughing at John, man. So
yeah, even if you own a house, it's still
he rough, man. I tell you, he rough, man. So give the man a compliment, man, and see how he come back. See how he come back. That's why you just can't say nice things about some people, man. I get it,
man. Listen, you and him is like oil and water. Hey, listen, we will see you guys on Saturday. 49ers and Seahawks game. Said is going to have a leaking oil.
Ooh.
Right, we'll see how many fines we can get out of that. So we got some things brewing for our Saturday show for this live stream. We may have more of what's on Pick's mind. I don't know. You never know because it's on my mind, and it's a dark place sometimes when you get in there. So we'll see you guys on Saturday, man. Look forward to it for sure. Thank you to JP Flaim from the Junkies for coming through. Make sure you check out Faith Restored. Please go order his book, Faith Restored, at faithrestored.com. Also, tune into the Junkies. You can listen to them 6 to 10 a.m. on 106.7 The Fan, the Team 980, the live stream on Monumental, and on YouTube. So those guys are really good, funny, and you hear a lot about their lives and things like that. So it's pretty good. Plus, you never know if Pick will show up on the Junkies because I'll just pop up on them. I will. I'll just pop up on them for real.
Security ain't too high over there.
Nah, security knows me. They know me, so they let me on in. They be like, what are you talking about? He's one of us. Yeah, no, I'm good. So shouts out to my son, United States Air Force. First Street Podcast, second to none. Come get some. Say it will say, go Dogs. I say, raise hell.
Go Bills.